There's something inherently valuable about defying expectations. When most phones look like this, and this one looks like this, that's saying something. It's saying, hey, I do something different. I deserve attention. With a square enclosure not much bigger than its 4-inch display, and a brand better known for audio accessories than full-fat smartphones, the MindOne Pro from iKKO is definitely different. So it's surprising how familiar it feels when you peel back its inevitably AI-encrusted layers. I think my favorite thing about the MindOne is that it doesn't feel like a phone. Instead, the combination of diminutive dimensions and unconventional aspect ratio gives it a vibe closer to that of an old MP3 player, or maybe one of those mobile hotspots that remote workers used to carry around. You wouldn't want to use it as a mobile hotspot for reasons I'll get into, but let's stick with the positives for a sec. I'm very impressed by both the design and execution of this hardware. The enclosure is framed in aluminum, with the screen sitting beneath a 9H rated sapphire that's apparently exclusive to the Pro model. It doesn't seem to have much of an anti-reflective coating, which makes it susceptible to glare on the go, but that glossy sheen plays so well against the button-studded satin finish midplate and the frosted back panel, presided over by that giant flip-out camera. I don't think I've ever described a phone as an objet d'art, because I didn't want to sound like a pretentious prick, but I almost feel like this qualifies. It's quirky and fun, but also stylish and classy. A delightful combination. Now, if this seems strangely familiar, there are two possible reasons for that. First, phone nerds of a certain vintage will recall the dual-screen LG Wing, the last gasp of greatness from that late mobile phone maker. Well, based on the specs and dimensions and just looking at the things, it sure seems like the MindOne's display is a repurposed second screen from that discontinued device. It's gorgeous and bright, with rich color and 90 Hz refresh, with my only complaints being the lack of an always-on display and a kind of gray washout that appears at the lowest brightness settings. The other reason it might be familiar, as others before me have said, this is kind of a flip phone without the flip. Buy a clamshell foldable and odds are you'll be faced with a cover screen just like this one, capable of running any app that'll fit. And I'm happy to say the same holds true here. The phone runs Android 15 with Google Play services, and I had no problem running any of the apps I need on the daily, from Gmail to DoorDash to the app that gets me on the ferry. Thank you. Of course, some make more sense than others. This is not a phone designed for short-form video, or really any kind of video, which gives us a hint as to the target customer. The MindOne seems to be aimed at the kind of person who really wants a side phone. No, not that side phone. A companion device they'll use occasionally when they're not using their main device. And for that customer, a lot of the basics are covered. Texting is surprisingly easy, despite the size, and the MindOne is responsive, despite its lower power processor, MediaTek's 8781, basically the IoT version of the Helio G99. Okay, so what's not great? Well, that same processor compromise carries a network sacrifice. Whether you use a virtual SIM through iKKO or toss your own in like I did, you'll be stuck on 4G speeds. Not ideal. Also suboptimal is the battery life. I'm lucky if I get to the end of the day with anything left, and that's not even with heavy use. I'd love to be able to show you details, but unlike any other phone, the MindOne doesn't break those down for me. Maybe that's a byproduct of the kind of undercooked software experience on the whole. Gboard's voice dictation doesn't always trigger, the clock routinely crashes when I set an alarm, and NFC payments don't work, despite Google Wallet being loaded. That might have something to do with this. My unit fails the strong integrity check, which actually I believe technically isn't needed for Google Wallet, but still isn't an encouraging sign. And the fingerprint sensor. Dear Lord. See, there's a setting on almost every Android phone that'll keep the scanner dormant unless you first push the power button. That setting is absent here. So the sensor's always waiting for a finger to scan, and so every time you so much as brush the thing, it vibrates to tell you it doesn't recognize you. So literally every time I put this phone away or take it out, it's buzzing me because the flesh of my palm is brushing against it until it decides it's had enough and makes me type my PIN. It is so frustrating that if I could, I'd use face unlock. But because there's no selfie camera, that's out. Let's talk about that camera. I love how well thought out this is. Why waste room on the front for an inferior secondary shooter when you can just put your 50-megapixel optically stabilized Sony sensor on a swivel and flip it around when you need it? Very clever. Very nice to see a dedicated button for it. And yes, it works for video calls too. Great. It's even worth the wobble, if you ask me. Or at least it would be if the output were better. Lots of noise, not a lot of dynamic range, finicky focal distance, and even compared with the selfie shooters of some other devices, yeah. This is another reason I tend to think of the MindOne as a secondary phone. If this is your primary, well, that camera is going to be tough to deal with. But as a companion device, for when you want to disconnect a little but still can't be without a camera, just for QR codes or truly unmissable moments, sure, it's fine. Unfortunately, you'll still be stuck with what I'm fairly certain is the world's worst speakerphone. Yeah, voice calls over the earpiece are fine on both sides, although the screen doesn't reliably turn off when you hold it up to your head. Credit to Ole, whose video reminded me to test that. But yeah, this speakerphone, oh my god. Let me load up a royalty-free track from Soundstripe and play it for you on a Pixel 10a to give you a mid-range baseline. And now, here's the MindOne.
It's surprising to me that a company known for its audio achievements would ship a speakerphone like this.
Now, according to a statement given to Jake at Returning Retro, as of January, iKKO was still tuning the audio to enhance this performance. But it doesn't seem like that's happened yet. And since devices have begun arriving in the mailboxes of the backers who supported this Kickstarter, well, it's officially ready to be reviewed time. So I have no passes to dole out. I have, though, put questions to iKKO about some of the device's low points, and I'll drop whatever responses I get in the video or the comment section. Lastly, we do need to talk about the AI of it all, and fortunately that won't take long. See, the conceit here is that you have two phones in one. You press and hold the button on the top edge next to that light sensor, and you'll flip from Android 15 to iKKO's AI-OS. I feel like the term OS is doing some heavy lifting there because this seems to be little more than a custom launcher that opens up access to iKKO's AI apps. You get a recorder that can transcribe and summarize your voice memos, a chat app that only allows access to ChatGPT-4 at the moment, a study tool that can analyze written questions to produce answers, a speech translator, and one of the worst fake podcast apps I've ever heard.
The desperate gamble Ake took by summoning News Braca back into Federation space, Holly Hunter's performance here was masterful in its restraint.
Oh, Paul Giamatti as Braca chewed the scenery, but effectively this time. Gone was the cartoonish villain from the premiere, this Braca oozed menace.
Yeah, and that's enough. In short, almost the exact same suite of AI features every manufacturer tries to cram into their otherwise good products to satisfy their FOMO or their investors or whoever. And as far as I can tell, none of it outperforms the fully featured brand name AI apps you can download back on the Android side. The only kinda interesting thing about this is that iKKO is offering free data for its AI solutions, built into the cost of the phone. You can rely on Novalink instead of your carrier to keep you connected. And if I had more faith or, frankly, interest in these tools, I would absolutely explore this further. And same deal for the lip service toward staying focused and getting work done in this OS. Just like with the Fairphone 6, that doesn't work if all the distractions you just left behind are only a button press away. This whole AI-OS just feels like a distraction that pulls focus from this product's true potential. I mean, the market for small phones may not be huge, but it does exist, and the MindOne gets so much of the packaging right. I honestly believe a small, solid phone in and of itself could do very well. And I expect that the majority of the Kickstarter backers who put up almost $1.5 million to bring this thing to life wanted that more than they wanted some AI phone. If iKKO were to fix the speakerphone, fine-tune the camera, squash the bulk of the bugs, and deliver on its 3-year platform upgrade promise, then this thing could be a great little second phone sidekick for its sale price of $429. And it's still very early in this product's life cycle. All of that legitimately could happen. But it'll all be a lot harder if the distractions of delivering AI shovelware continue to impinge on what I believe should be the main goal of building a great small smartphone. Little epilogue here. iKKO offers a keyboard case with the MindOne that adds a bigger battery and better audio processing alongside a QWERTY keyboard, but it wasn't yet being sent out for review by press time. And because it's so, similar to a product I had a hand in bringing to life, I am abstaining from covering it. But I wanted you to know it existed, nevertheless. This review was made possible by a review sample provided by iKKO, but as always, no manufacturer has copy approval rights, editorial input, or even early previews of my content. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Check out my Pixel 10a review for another way to spend your $500, and stay tuned for more from the newly bustling world of weird phones coming soon. Till next time, from Michael Fisher, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.